them. And
should football, I understand everything you're saying, but some people say, for example, and this was applicable at the Qatar World Cup, should a World Cup actually be, and we're not discussing that here today, but it relates to the human rights issues, should football ever take place in a country where women aren't allowed to play football? Should the World Cup ever take place in a country where women aren't allowed to play football? So, surely there are clear moral lines to be drawn.
There are moral lines to be drawn, but FIFA, which is ultimately the awarding body, chooses to ignore them as it sees fit. You could also put an argument with regards to the 2018 World Cup, which took place in Russia, which is effectively a mafioso state. And we've seen Russian behavior in terms of Ukraine well before 2018 that we chose to ignore. If we are really, if we really have a moral or ethical issue, then we should be boycotting it as fans, and perhaps as broadcasters that should be boycotted as well. We're all quite happy to watch the football and moralise at the same time. If we feel genuine about it, then surely on an individual basis we need to take a stand.
Alison, how much of a moral problem do you have with this?
Oh, what a question. It's a difficult one because I'll be honest, when I started out in my career, I was very naive to it because it was something that wasn't really spoken about. And it all began, I suppose, when I was in Russia and people started talking about it, and I suddenly had to give interviews and I had to educate myself in a sphere that I'm just not really comfortable with, to be honest. Geopolitical is not something that I kind of bought into, but I understand that I have to educate myself. And I suppose the more I read, the more of a moral issue I do have with it. But then it's all very well. I'm always one of those people that can see both sides of an argument. And when people come in and say, there are so many moral issues in so many countries in the world, you almost have to start thinking wider. I mean, it's not just the Saudi Pro League. I've had to educate myself. Just this morning, I've just made a list of the 4 clubs that are, public investment fund owned, and all the other Saudi Pro League clubs, and a big list of the footballers. It's vast, and we have to be on top of it. So, do I have a moral issue? Yes, I do. And I'd like to educate myself more on it, to be honest. And that's why I think it's interesting hearing from Kieran. It's interesting hearing from people that know more about it than I do. I just want to watch good football, and it's a shame that it's a shame that this has happened, and this is something that I have to be on top of.
I love the way you said that in a kind of slightly defensive but unapologetic but very real and honest way. I just like to watch good football. I know what you mean. It's
so tricky, isn't it? And it's would I be? I sometimes look at some of the work that I do. I'm a freelancer, and now I have to think about where I'm working. It's not just a simple situation of, we've got a job for you, Alison, would you like to do this job? I have to now do background checks and research on the companies that I'm working for. I've been asked to work for Russian broadcasters. I have to think about whether this would go down well. There's just a lot that I didn't think that I was coming into when I entered this world. And this is not supposed to be like poor me, but this is just me speaking from the heart. As someone who loves football, someone who loves watching and reporting on football.
Well, when you said there, you can see both sides of the argument. It's a bane of my life, that. It really is. It does my head in.
But you then put it out there on Twitter because it's very difficult to...
I want to introduce Dr. Talal Almaghrabi to the world. To us. Expert in nation branding, sports marketing, based in Saudi Arabia. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Talal, what would you like me to call you? Talal? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Now, you hear there from Alison, football journalist. She's a brilliant football journalist. I love it when she's available to come on a programme. In Saudi Arabia at the moment, only men can be legal guardians under a law just codified. Women must have a male guardian's permission to marry and then obliged to obey their husband. So that would be Alison and any other woman's situation. Can you understand why she has profound moral qualms?
To be honest with you, not whatever being said is like straight true, because in Saudi Arabia, a woman, they can travel, they can marry without a guardian, and even if they have a guardian, the guardian cannot force them. So if you are talking about the rules are clear. If you are talking about some of the tribes, maybe they have their own tribal cultures and rules, that is completely different. But if you are talking about the civilizations and the civil rule in Saudi Arabia, I think it has been a change in the last 6 years. So women can now have equal salary, they have equal job, they can be an engineer, they can be in all different sort of educations and civil rights rules, as well as even playing sports. Now all the female, they have the rights to play all the type of sports in Saudi Arabia.
So women do not.
So I cannot see the issue that.
No, I was just on that particular point. There's a whole list that I could put you to.
If you'd like to allow me,
I just want a little bit of clarification,
yes.
please, and just to say, I just want a little bit of clarification because I was looking into this, and in March, the Council of Ministers codified a new law which enforces male guardianship. Only men can be legal guardians under this law. Women must have a male guardian's permission to marry. So you can reassure us, women do not need a male guardian's permission to marry.
So yes, you have a male guardian. For example, even my son now and my daughter, they are over 18 years old, so they have their rights to study, to travel, to go abroad. They are living right now. They are living in the UK, so they are studying in the UK. They are going universities in the UK. So it's completely how you are going to see it. They have the rights to marry by themselves. The father himself, I cannot force my daughter to get married for a certain man she doesn't like. So it is how you are going to see it. But in the same time, you are getting all this news from different public media. Saudi Arabia is an open country now. Come and see, and then you can confirm all those maybe false news. So the better way is to come and see how is the country is running, how the people are running, how is we have a very safe community and societies. Then you can confirm all those perceptions that you might have, either confirm or disconfirm those perceptions. But you cannot just build up all those perceptions on the what is being said on the media, or taking one side of the narratives without seeing the facts from the other story.
Okay, moving on. Could Saudi Arabia host a Women's World Cup?
I think yes. I think they already have applied for the Asian bid for Asia. I think I'm not sure if we win that or not, but I think we already submitted a file to host the Asian Women Football Cup in Saudi Arabia.
So things are moving.
So that is already being submitted. Yeah. And we have a league now. We have a professional players, by the way, coming from Arab world and non-Arab world, playing football in the women league. So we already have that from last year.
Of course, there's not just women and girls' rights. There's the forced evictions to develop cities. There's migrant rights. There's gay rights. There are the human rights. I just want to move on from that stuff. I'm just marking it and putting it out there.
If you'd like to see,
I want to talk about the football.
Picture, see the migrations on the UK status now.
And there's the journalistic freedom, and there is the recent allegations of state-sponsored murder. There's all that, but I want to move. I want to move on. Not that I want to downgrade it, of course, but let's talk about the football aspect and what this means for Saudi Arabia. Alison, would you like to ask any questions?
Yes, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I have so many questions, but so what is the situation right now with women playing and watching sport?
I think women as a family, or a woman as like individuals, they have the right even to go to the stadiums and watch football. They have the rights to play all sorts of sports, by the way. It's not only football. So we have like in under any federations, we have men and female federations for all sorts of sports. We have a professional league now for the women football. As I said just a while ago, we have even professional players from non-Saudis are playing in Saudi Arabia right now.
Let's bring some callers in. Anything else, Alison? I know you've got loads to ask.
I mean, there are so many things, but as you went through the list, obviously Jordan Henderson is, a great supporter of LGBTQ plus rights in our country, and I think that a lot of people were disappointed with the thought that he might want to come over there because of the rights that you have right now, and I can't see that.
I think he already signed with
some things that will change, but not that, I'd imagine.
Do you want to come back on that, Doctor? And we'll move to some calls.
Yeah, I think Henderson is already signed with with Gerard. So people are looking for their futures. They would like to have a nice place for their families. And Saudi Arabia is one of the secure safest country in the world, with a very clear vision to move forward. And people, they would like to join and be part of those projects to build up our country and to have a very strong economy, strong league, and be hopefully in the top 5 leagues in the world. So Gerard I think he already signed with Henderson. So Henderson is in Saudi Arabia. People always love to be part of good projects and also good salary. So any one of you, if they have been offered a good salary in a different positions, I am sure they will go for a better job that will give a better life for their families and their kids.
Thank you for coming on this morning.
It's just problematic, isn't it, when someone is very outspoken and sort of nails their colours to the mast and then goes against that. I think that is something that we've come to notice with a few footballers who are supporting various things. But I appreciate, I do like to be open-minded, I do like to listen, but there are still many more questions than answers, I guess.
Sure. We're going to come to some callers in just a second, but thank you for joining us, Doctor, and telling us what you told us. But I guess, Kieran Maguire, we could go on about and we could investigate quite properly, and we have done in the past and we will in the future, these individual issues, which so many people, I think, quite rightly find